Hello everyone, in this video I have a problem here that involves inverse functions. This problem here says when the inverse function of the function fx is equal to x minus 1 divided by x minus 2 is the inverse function ax plus b divided by x plus c, find for the values of a, b, and c. There are two ways to solve this problem, and I'm first going to solve it in the way that most people solve this problem, which is, so first if we just, instead of writing fx, I'm going to write y. So y, the function y is equal to x minus 1 divided by x minus 2. When we have this function, the inverse function, to find for the inverse function, we are going to change the positions of x and y. So we're going to replace y with x and change all of the x with y. So just like this. And then we're going to solve for y. So we're going to multiply x minus 2 on both sides. That will give us x times x minus 2 is equal to y minus 1. If we expand it, we get xy minus 2x is equal to y minus 1. We're going to subtract y on both sides, and we're going to add 2x on both sides. That will give us xy minus y is equal to 2x minus 1. And here we're going to factor the equation by y. That will be y times x minus 1 is equal to 2x minus 1. If we divide by x minus 1 on both sides, we get y is equal to 2x minus 1 over x minus 1. So this is how you find for our inverse function. The inverse function of fx is 2x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. Now this is the way most people solve for inverse functions, but there is a much faster way. And it's not that hard to remember this formula, I guess. And this will be just an example. As an example, let's say that we have the function ax plus b divided by cx plus d. To find for the inverse function of this function, we're going to draw a percent sign across like this and circle the two constants, so like a percent sign, right? And then we're going to switch the positions of the circles. So the a will be replaced with d and d will be replaced with a. So that will be d dx, the x will stay, dx, and a here. And then what will happen to the b and the c here is just the signs will change. So here the signs will change into a negative sign since it's positive right now, and the same for c as well. So this would be the inverse function of this function, I'm going to solve for the inverse function in our problem now. Our function that is given is x minus 1 divided by x minus 2. If we solve for the inverse function, we're going to draw a percent sign. So here's an invisible 1. It's 1 times x. And we're first going to switch the positions of 1 and minus 2. Don't forget that it's a negative 2. So it will be negative 2x. We're going to change the signs of these two. So since it's a negative here, we're going to change it to positive. So positive 1 divided by change this sign to negative. Since we changed these positions, this will be plus 1. But as you can see, okay, so now we found the inverse function here, right? But it asks us to find for the values of a, b, and c, because the inverse function of this function is this. So we're going to compare this function, this inverse function, with the inverse function that we got before. So this is equal to ax plus b divided by x plus c. That obviously tells us that a is equal to 2, b is equal to -1, and c as well is equal to -1. So that will be our answer. But here it's a little bit tricky because we're going to compare this inverse function with this inverse function. So is equal to ax plus b is divided by x plus c. The reason why it's a little bit tricky here is because if you watch closely, the constant in front of the x is -1, but here the constant in front of the x is just 1. And so since these are two different, we can't just set these equal to each other and say that c is 1, b is 1, and a is -1. -2. We have to multiply -1 on top and bottom of this inverse function, which will get us 2x minus 1 divided by x minus 1 is equal to ax plus b divided by x plus c. Now we can solve for a, b, and c. A here is 2, b here is -1, and c is also -1. So these are two ways to solve for the inverse function. And as you can see, this was just it. Very short and simple, right? But here you have to do factoring and all that, which obviously takes longer. And so I recommend this. It does not take long to remember how to do this, so try it this way. That will be the end of this video, and see you guys next week. Bye.